You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Yay!
Welcome to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this May 12th, 2021. We have an incredible guest for everybody today. Her name is Lisa London, and you've probably seen her in movies going back to 1979, starting with the movie Hots, and then moving on to Samurai Cop 2.
You have to say I was 12.
She was 3.5 years old in 1979, so she's only 13 years old. So anyway, we were going to go over a bit of her history, and we're also going to then later talk about our client. She's our guest attorney for today to talk about our client. Don't dress your pets or pet your dress. Neither is a good thing to do. So that being the case, we'll get into Lisa London. Now, I've actually seen a couple of your movies without even knowing your name over all of these years, and I'm happy to finally put a name to the face. Like, I've seen Private Resort, and I saw Hots back in the day because, to be honest, I was a young man who watched teen sex romps, and those were basically what those were.
I know. So, how hilarious is it that they're so tame and so, like, not anything like all the risque stuff that goes on now. I mean, network TV has more stuff than what we did in that.
That's quite true, especially like the cable shows and what have you.
I know.
Now you have you're turning into the queen of Amazon Prime's horror catalog, I've found out.
Know. I came to the genre late, and I am so glad that I am in that party now. I love it so much, and what I love about it is you play all this stuff straight, as if it's not something that's astoundingly insane that could possibly happen, that some monster would come out and from underneath a rock or something. You act like, oh my gosh, of course a monster would come out from under a rock. And I love the challenge of making it real and making it fun and scary at the same time, and a little bit of sexy in there too. And I've just been really blessed. And yeah, Amazon.
You just described Greg's apartment, actually.
Amazon. There's a little bit of sexy in here, a little bit.
Some monsters under a rock as well.
In the corner.
Yes.
There's a little bit of sexy hiding.
Yes.
Yeah, you have about 10, I think, at least 10 different movies going on Amazon. And we've been trying to set up this interview for a while, and you keep winding up on location. This is really great, for an actor in your stage of your career to have such business.
I know. It's like a crazy insurgence, and I almost feel guilty because I've been totally flourishing all through the pandemic. But it's been really amazing to watch people be so innovative and so responsible to figure out ways to shoot, where everyone would be safe and yet people would still be productive and creative. And it's just been this absolute joy. I've done a ton of those Amazon Primes with Gregory Hatanaka, a wonderful director, producer, and one I'm so proud of is called Quarantine Girl. And it examines the very beginning of the psychological insanity that we were all going through with all the mixed messages, and nobody knew what this pandemic really was or what the virus could do.
I think it all began with eating bats, didn't it? Was that how the movie starts? Exactly. Quarantine Girls, you start eating bats, and then it goes from there.
Yes,
in China.
The cool thing about it is that we've gone through it, and and each movie has different angles about how they deal with it. Each director has different ways, but it's been really great.
So
would you say that you're? Oh, sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
they've all been pretty safe though. I was curious how filming is going during the pandemic.
Crazy safe. And
they do all their sex scenes in hazmat suits.
Well, actually, it's just the testing, and also just spotless and keeping people away from each other as much as possible until you absolutely have to be near each other. And as actors, it's a little stressful because you're supposed to be really relaxed to do your best work. And we're all like, oh, wait, oh no, you can't touch this. You got to do that. So yeah, it's been intense. So I'm really glad that I'm fully vaccinated and the rest of the world is getting there as well. And this thing is going to be in our rearview mirror soon. I would
think that tenseness would probably help in Quarantine Girl because of the fact of the nature of the subject matter in that particular movie, that being tense is probably working for you.
Yeah. And it's also, like whenever I do theater, I'm so nervous before a live performance, or when I'm singing, I'm so nervous before I sing because it's so live and immediate. In front of a camera, that's my element and I don't get nervous, but that nervousness you channel into making it work for your performance. And yes, the stress, we did the same thing.
So are you in the middle of filming a movie right now, or did you finally just get a break?
I just got back from Texas, where I'm in this fabulous, it's actually a faith-based film, which I've never done before, but it doesn't hit you on the head about any kind of religion. It's just like examining the chaos and order of life and just, crazy circumstances when you think you've met someone before.
So it's faith-based, but it's more based on like the Shinto religion.
It's really like just a spiritual exploration of what we're all about. And it's just a beautifully written script, really difficult script to shoot because there were like flashbacks in the flashback. But I think that Chuck Walker did an amazing job, and Richie Cable wrote the script, and he's also the DP. And the footage just looked gorgeous from what I've seen so far. So I just got back from Texas for that. And right before that, I was doing a whole bunch more with Gregory Hatanaka and another wonderful director, Jason Toller, who's also a great actor. And I play a badass cop in a really scary.
I had a question regarding Chuck Walker, and you said that you were in Texas filming this. So is that the actual Chuck Walker Texas Ranger? I should drink for that, but I don't have any.
Yes.
No.
Anyway, that joke is horrible.
No, he's a director. He's a director, and he's actually a famous boxer. His background, he was a boxer, yeah.
But he did like arrange things for the movie so he could be Chuck Walker, Texas Arranger.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, everybody. I couldn't help it.
You like that joke, Matt?
I had to get it out of my system.
So do I look okay to you guys?
You look beautiful. You look like you have like a wreath of flowers around your head.
Literally no makeup on or anything. I literally just came out of the pool.
I just took off all of my makeup. It was like
I had clown makeup on.
Caked on. I actually looked like Queen Elizabeth just before we started this. But so your career has been really interesting. You've had like these different categories. Now, I saw one interview where you said someone had described you in, again, pardon the crudity here, having the best boobs in Hollywood.
Oh, now, well, I have a lot of books known as the best boobs in Hollywood. Yeah. And
so there's books about your boobs as well.
Yes, exactly.
Novels.
I want that book one day to be
Matt
written
calls
about
me the biggest boob in Portland.
What?
So, he was just insulting himself. It's self-deprecating thing. So did you think, I mean, obviously you need to know your business because you've been in the business for at least 5 years now, going back to 1979 and then moving forward to 1983.
Yeah.
So you obviously have talent as an actress. Did you find that being categorized within the, I guess, the boob category, did that hinder your career?
Here's the amazing thing about my career. Mm-hmm. From the very first film I ever starred in, even though it was a female version of Animal House, it was basically, like the quintessential TNA B movie, it became a cult classic. And I was known as a great actress right out of the gate. I mean, I got great reviews, and I've never, thank God, ever not been talked about as an actress as much as it's kind of been simultaneous with the whole sexy thing. I mean, it was disappointing a lot of times when they would just barely mention what I was doing acting wise and just say, oh, she looked great or whatever. But you know what? the older you get in life, also you're like, fine, fuck it. Let them say I'm gorgeous and then get to
You were much more than a delivery system for boobs. They respected
exactly.
your
And
acting.
the great thing too is I've done some really huge, A-list stuff too. I mean, I close out season 1 of the morning show. Okay, it made history in award shows because it was the first show of Apple TV Plus. And the amazing thing was that I got to do that too with all the other low budget stuff, and I had an impact with Clint Eastwood. I'm in The Doors. I mean, I'm in some I'm in Law and Order SVU, like the most award-winning episode they ever had. So it's like, yeah, I've done some great stuff too.
As a thespian, what would you say was your proudest role? Like, it didn't do well in the box office, but you were like, I'm being a really good actor on this movie. I'm doing really well.
I honestly would never pick because every single role I've ever done, I've given it my all. And I know that there were parts of it that were, every movie and TV show I've ever done have parts of it that were unbelievably fantastic. And then there's some that didn't turn out as great as I wanted them to, but it was still a fabulous experience in the journey of life and in my growth as an actor. And I've worked with so many incredible directors, from Mimi Leader on the morning show to David Dakota and Gregory Hatanaka, that just cherish, talent and give people chances all the time, no matter what's going on in the world. They always manage a way to keep people working. I've worked with Clint Eastwood as a director. I've worked with Oliver Stone. It's Reza Bidet, who started Playhouse 90, which started, Michael Bay directed me in commercials. Elma Garcia, who's a female director also, that just did, I did this huge Polish, Slovakia, Czech Republic campaign for people to be aware of Hep C because it's such a silent killer. And I would never do anything for a drug company, but this was like an awareness campaign that I thought was so important. And it turned out to be one of the most amazing, beautiful pieces of filming that I've ever done. So
you're just as proud. Are you just as proud as Monster Under a Rock Part 2 as the morning show?
Did I say what?
Are you just as proud of even the horror, like Monster Under a Rock 2?
I mean, and also Bigfoot or Bust. I cannot wait for that to come out by the late Jim Wynorski. And I'm telling you, this movie is going to be hilarious, pure joy. And it's what the world needs right now. And I love it. I love
Bigfoot or Bust. Do you get to see the foot?
You actually, you know what? I don't think a person who's looking at anyone's foot, but it of our other, I don't think the feet are in there.
And that's one that's just getting wrapped up as Bigfoot or Bust. That's like one of your newer ones coming out.
Yes, that's one of my latest. Yes.
Where did that one film? I mean, because that's normally like a Pacific Northwest type of thing, is delving into Bigfoot.
Yeah, just wait till you see this. It's really a clever, great script. And Chuck Chirino, who also was the DP on this. I mean, I'm so lucky. I work with the best DPs all the time too. So,
you ever wonder why you never see Bigfoot movies taking place in like the heartland, like in the plain fields, the plains of
or in the desert.
Kansas?
They're never
right.
quite, are they?
Yeah.
Kind of hard for Bigfoot to hide in the desert.
Yes.
I had a friend who grew up in the South. She grew up in, I think, North Carolina. She moved to Arizona, and she thought Bigfoot followed her. She was still scared of Bigfoot. And it was like, there's no Yeti. There's no Bigfoot Sasquatch in the desert.
We'll love our Bigfoot. I guarantee.
North Carolina is not the South, Greg. Just,
What?
It's not. What is it?
It is the South. North Carolina is the South.
It's North Carolina.
Oh, fine, Brendan. You have to drink for that joke. Anyway, I was going to say everything under the Mason-Dixon line is the South, but now I understand.
Yeah.
So your career has been is it encapsulated in different chapters in your perspective as you've gone through it? Like, has it changed as you've aged, even though you haven't aged? But
thank you. But,
she's 13, right?
Right.
Very good. But also, yes. And, the years that I did the Andy Sedaris films in Hawaii, like that can never happen again. I mean, those were like, there was so much money in those movies compared to what a low budget is now. It was like still doing an A film. And so I've watched the industry change so much that it's very, and I see too. So I've had like big chunks of my life when I had a major record deal, or when that was kind of like something I was paying more attention to than the acting. But acting has been what I wanted to do since I was 4 years old. So.
Well, I just saw a music video that you were in with Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah.
So cool.
And I thought it was really interesting because you're shown a couple of times in it, and I thought they were going to do more with you.
Not a couple of times. I'm the only girl in the video too, which is pretty amazing at this point in my life, because I had a decade of where I was the babe in like every major rock video. I did like 30 of them.
Wow.
And I got back from Mexico. This was like about almost 2 years ago now. And my manager calls, and I have a fabulous manager, Sherry Robb. She's like a mom to me. And she's like, listen, this big director wants you for a music video. And I'm like, I don't do music videos anymore. And she goes, do this one. Trust me. It'll be great exposure. And he just booked me, Emil Nava. And then at one point, I know that Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber probably had to okay me or something. There's some stuff going on. And then I got this wonderful, like, 45 minutes of just no one on set except me and the director, with him directing me, telling me, do this, cross your legs, act now like you're madly in love with someone, act now like you're sad, act now like this, da, da, da. And, I got done. He said, that was brilliant. Thank you, darling. And I'm like, okay, cool. But, a music video, you're like, you could be in it for 1 second or not in it at all. So when I was the girl in the video, I was pretty happy with that.
Well, plus the fascinating thing to me was that Ed Sheeran is in a panda suit sitting next to you, and I could see it was like green screened in.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's sad you didn't actually get to meet Ed Sheeran.
About pandas, because I star in a short called Finding Mama, directed by another great female director, Anna Simone Scott. And that won awards, and I was actually nominated for Best Actor Short in the New York International Film Festival, which is like a huge big deal because all the other shorts were made with tons of money, and this was like a shoestring.
Nice.
And there's a panda motif in that too, and I'm not going to say anything else because you have to on Amazon Prime too.
So Mama was your panda. So in
Finding.
other words, your mother was an actual panda.
You just have to watch.
That old TV show, My Mother the Panda. So Lisa, I'm really curious about the pinups. I want to know about the pinups. I saw your videos.
It was
How
the
did that
first.
all start?
It was the first thing I ever auditioned for as a singer. I had sung a little bit in choruses and choirs like all through high school, and I was always with musician boyfriends at that time. And a casting director friend of mine, Craig Campobasso, saw this audition notice for this international search for 4 girls by these German producers. And it was a Sony, CBS Records, Sony major record. So when I auditioned, I thought I did so poorly that I left to go out of town to do a modeling job. And I didn't even tell the powers that be that knew about this where I was, because I thought, oh God, I'm never going to get this. And I got it. And It was the most amazing experience. We had, we debuted on the Billboard charts because of Clive Davis picking us, saying we were like the best thing happening. We
Clive
sounded
Davis. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
the Pointer Sisters, but we were 4 white chicks, so people really didn't know what to do with us. And we also had all different genres on our album because that's what they did in Europe. And we had German producers. We got to live in Germany. I even had a German famous sports hockey player boyfriend for a while, and it was pretty cool. It was a great.
Well, you guys kind of were like the precursors to like the Pussycat Dolls, because you were, and before Madonna, you were wearing lingerie on stage.
We were first to do that before Madonna.
I was incredibly impressed that you're wearing the biggest heels I've ever seen a woman wear, and you're dancing and singing. That's a skill.
See the boots in Bigfooter Bus, and what you see the heels I'm in is Detective Clausen, Amityville Cop, which I'm so proud of that movie, by the way.
Amityville Cop. All right, there's another one.
A couple months. It is brilliant, and the role was written for a guy, like a real profane, dirty, bad guy cop, a detective, and gave the role to me. So I had so much fun. I can't even tell you. It was great.
there was some review or it was a movie that I was familiar with that you were in where Seymour Cassell was supposed to be the role,
Yeah,
and
I Cop too.
that was
Yeah,
Samurai Cop 2. Okay,
I,
so you got like a lead role by accident because he got
I
sick.
exactly. I was supposed to be like his trophy wife, and I think I had one or two lines. And wonderful Gregory Hatanaka, when Seymour got sick, said, "Lisa, you're going to be the crime boss," and they didn't change the dialogue at all. So it's like, but the whole movie is the most wonderful farce, like an airplane that you've ever seen. But it's hilarious. None of the dialogue makes sense when it comes to me because they're talking about a dude, and yet, like, believe
Now I
me,
want to see this movie so bad.
What was the name of the movie again?
Samurai Cop 2.
Samurai Cop 2. Okay.
And one of the actors in it, Tommy Wiseau, that's what James Franco made his big movie about, was his other movie called The Room. And my scenes with Tommy Wiseau are worth the price of admission. I guarantee you'll.
Oh my
and
God.
how much of a nut job is Tommy Wiseau in person?
Oh, he's such a doll. He is such a sweetheart, and he is naturally hilarious. I don't know what it is about him, but it's just, you'll love it. It's really
I hope
good.
you didn't take any acting pointers from him. I hope he kept those to himself.
Hey. I'm going to be the Tommy Wiseau defender here. Tommy is brilliant. You just don't understand it.
That's probably it.
I'm always the diva that's deferred to on acting pointers on everything I do for the last decade.
Yeah, Greg, she's the one who gives the lessons, Greg.
She should, especially to Tommy. He needs him.
Oh, okay. So hold on.
You're making Brandon upset.
I know you are. You're pissing me off.
I'm pushing it.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure Samurai Cop 2, Tommy Wiseau is in that movie.
And Bai Ling and me and Christine DeBelle and Shane Ryan. Shane Ryan I star in Choke with, and I'm so proud of that movie on Amazon Prime because I helped produce that as well.
I started watching Choke on Amazon last night. That was a very odd opening sequence. So the guy's like eating oatmeal, but he's having trouble with it. I'm like these are just some interesting directing choices.
Like Quentin Tarantino, you'll love that movie because it's homage to him.
Oh, okay. Does Tarantino know about it?
I don't know if he does, but you know what he did for me a couple years ago? He refurbished the print of a movie I star in called The Naked Cage, and he showed it at Fabulous Theater on Beverly in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
And it was sold out in the Q&A. They couldn't get people to stop asking questions. And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my whole life. It's really cool.
Wow.
I know.
So were you part of the Q&A? Did you get to go?
It was April Tompkins and me, and it was pretty incredible. And then I brought Leslie Scarborough, who's also in it, up on, I think Leslie Huntley is her screen name, but brought her up on stage too. And it was pretty cool. I had my husband there, my best girlfriend there, and they couldn't believe it because they had never seen it. And it really is a movie that's ahead of its time. It was great. One of the original Cannon Films movies too.
Oh yeah, I remember Cannon Films back in the day.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, since Hots is like this seminal sex comedy from back in the 79,
cult classic,
and it kicked off your career, as you said, and I'm wondering, did that do the same for other stars of that movie with you? Have you guys crossed over to other movies together since then?
It was interesting because Danny Bonaducci was already a big star as a kid from the Partridge Family, and he had a huge career for a long time, but I wouldn't say it kicked off his because he already was famous.
Right.
But Daniel Petrie is a big director now who is one of the guys in it. And then Pamela Bryant and I became best friends, like sisters, the minute we met on that set. She had a huge career until she died a few years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that. But at the very least, you can look back with fondness about that particular era.
The star in your first movie, and it was my second audition.
Yeah.
So And I went to the Cannes Film
Wow.
Festival. I didn't go again until 2 years ago. I started called Do You See, directed by an incredible director actor who happens to also be one of my best friends, Corbin Timbrook. And we also just did another movie called Why that is on it's now on video on demand everywhere, but it's going to be streaming everywhere too. You guys have to see it. It is the scariest slasher movie you will ever see in your life, but shot like it's a romantic comedy because it's so beautiful. And I'm really proud of my little
romantic comedy / slasher film. That's a dangerous title for a movie, to call a movie Why. You kind of take a risk of reviewers answering that question for you.
We're getting killer reviews, pun intended.
I think romantic comedy slasher movies is a genre that needs to be explored.
Yes.
And that's why we did Why. Get it?
Makes sense.
Now you're also producing movies now too, right?
Yes, I've produced a couple, and I want to start doing that again. I'm actually going to be working with a really incredible director that I'm so excited about. I can't say anything about the project yet because it's in the early stages. But his name is Monty Light. He's like amazing, and a lot of my co-stars have worked with him, but this will be my first time with him. And I really hope to be involved in the production end of that a little bit too.
So
I'm curious, Monty
Light.
You said you were in. Oh,
go ahead, Greg.
Matt had a question.
Well, I just said the guy's name is Monty Light.
Yes.
Okay.
So I really want to know though. Could you list off some of when you were a rock video babe? What were some of the videos you were in? That we might have seen them growing up.
In Quiet Riot's Party All Night. I was in Wang Chung's. Oh God, I'm spacing on the name of the song, but it's the second biggest hit they ever had. Wang Chung. I was in
Dance Hall Days.
Blink 182, of course, the Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber. I was in the first one I ever did. Prince came to the set and kind of co-directed. That was in the height of Purple Rain, and that was for Morris Day in the Time, and that was called Ice Cream Castles. And it was the first one I ever did, and there were a whole bunch of girls in it, but I'm kind of like the star of it.
How fun is that, hanging out with Morris Day in the Time and getting paid for it?
It was
That sounds like
unbelievable.
a fun day.
It was so great. It was so
That's
great.
awesome.
And then
So
I
you've
did
had
a commercial also in the late 80s, early 90s, for actually a few years in a row in Japan with Boy George for Takara Plum Wine, and that was really cool.
Wait, you did a wine commercial with Boy George?
Yeah, it was actually, plum wine. It's kind of like,
Like sake.
it was great. And I was a geisha girl. It was pretty cool. They put our hair for tight rubber bands and then the black wig and the white, total flat out. It was so cool. I wish
So you
I
did
still...
a full cultural appropriation, and nobody came after you with
you can't do that
chainsaws.
anymore, I guess.
I know. That would be very politically incorrect. Yes.
Yes.
These days.
I
Yeah.
heard those Japanese commercials paid a lot, and they wouldn't even show here.
They paid so much money, and it was so hysterical. I don't know if you saw the movie that Sofia Coppola directed.
Lost in Translation.
Okay, that was so exact because this is literally what would happen. We'd be on the set, right? And the director would be just going, and he'd go on and on for 20 minutes. And I'd say to the translator, "What? You stand here."
That's all that he said.
It's like those Godzilla movies where it's they're like, and then there's let's go to the store.
Exactly.
What?
There had to have been more. There must have been making a sandwich in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Fabulous experience.
Well, you've had a pretty charmed life. I mean, your father was a very well-known guy in Palm Springs, and even your grandfather had a restaurant that Frank Sinatra and Tony Orlando hung out at.
Yeah.
So
Lena Horne. Who else did I there? So many I can't even remember. But yeah, it was pretty amazing. Grandpa was the bomb, and my dad was the first announcer ever of the Angels, but he was mainly famous for the international voice of the Bob Hope Classic for golf for 25 years.
That's very significant.
Yeah.
Now, and didn't you get your start as like being one of the ladies of the Bob Hope Classic or something like that, or?
And it had nothing to do with my dad at all. I like any contest, no one knew any connection or whatever. So I was very proud of that.
So
Yes.
did you play golf or you just?
No, I play tennis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't
No,
quite.
it's funny because only my dad played golf. Everyone else in my family, we were all tennis players, are tennis players. Yeah.
So what made the transition from growing up in Palm Springs to going into the movie business? What made you what was the inspiration, the thing that made you go, I want to do that?
It's what I always wanted to do more than anything. And I went to Arizona State on full journalism scholarships. I literally was awarded every scholarship you could possibly get. And I was
on
there.
A journalism scholarship. Okay.
Yeah. I was there a semester and I begged my parents to let me try to be an actress in Hollywood. And they said, go ahead, you have 2 weeks. And if you don't get
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
being serious. So I got a list of what I thought was all the productions that were going on. But what I got a list of all the post-production houses, right? So I saw this name that said Kaleidoscope Films, and I thought it was really pretty. So I went, and this is the days of heavy film cans, and I thought, oh, there's a messenger job available. And of course, I couldn't lift them. And the owner, gorgeous man by the name of Andy Keene, literally basically adopted me on the spot. And he said, listen, kid, wear your short shorts that you wore when I hired you. Go deliver this script to Ray Stark. He'll fall in love with you, and he'll put you in this. He's doing this movie, California Suite, and they need extra footage. And if you get that, you'll get your SAG card. And I did.
Wow.
Nice.
Some
then-
useful advice from Hollywood.
Nice.
I was dating someone really famous who was a lot older than me, and his agent wanted to get rid of me. So
You have to name that person now.
I can now because it's enough times passed. It was Joe Namath.
Joe Namath. You
Whoa.
were dating Joe Namath. Holy cow.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Before or after the stockings you wore in the Playgirl spread?
Way after. He was just about ready to retire from the Rams. Like, I don't think he even played. He was done.
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm surprised that my two co-hosts actually know who Joe Namath is.
Well, didn't
He
you
was a
date Joe
celebrity.
Namath at one point, Brendan?
I did, but we weren't going to talk about that, right?
He's still the greatest quarterback that ever lived, because for those days with no protection and the injuries he's had that they couldn't rehabilitate, the man still is phenomenal.
Joe Namath was a god as far as quarterbacks go. 100%.
He was 24 years old. I guarantee we're going to beat the Green Bay Packers, and they friggin' did. I'm sorry. That's the bomb. And then anyway, so his agent sent me on the audition for Hots because every young actress in the world was going on it. And he thought I suck and get discouraged and go home. And then he wouldn't have to worry about the National Enquirer because there's no social media, but he didn't want the National Enquirer talking about this 19-year-old seeing his 34-year-old client. Yeah, it was pretty great. But I will love Joe Namath till the day I die. He just was an incredible human being in my life.
It sounds like he was definitely a major force. I mean, it's like
and he had no choice. I wanted to date him from when I was 11 years old.
Oh.
And when I finally had the opportunity, I'm like, okay, you're mine.
So
that
you
was that.
stalked him.
No, not at all.
Oh,
I
okay.
never-
Well, how did you get
No.
yourself in a position to be able to date Joe Namath? How did you wind up in that room?
Okay, in Palm Springs, my sister was a towel girl at one of the most exclusive country club spa hotels. And he was there, and she called me and she goes, Joe Namath's here. Get over here right now. I know he'll like you.
Yeah,
Apparently he did.
That's not stalking at all. No.
Well, no, it wasn't really. It was like the sister was doing the stalking.
The sister. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, fair enough. Okay.
I was 17 then, so no, it wasn't stalking. And I came on my bike, you idiots.
Ah.
Did you have like a little bell too on the way that you were ringing?
Ching, ching.
I'm on my way to see Joe Namath. Ching, ching, ching.
Get out of my way.
That's hilarious.
Adorable.
So all this time, you've had a storied career. Have you owned any pets this entire time?
Yes, God. I've had lots of cats. I love cats.
Oh,
I
you're a
have
cat person.
dogs.
Okay.
Child, but I have, and my cat, Caddy, oh my God, she's the most gorgeous, coolest feral cat. She adopted us. She was
feral cat. Okay.
She was the neighborhood stray for 2 years, and she literally just adopted us, and now she's our cat.
Did you say you call the cat Caddy?
Yes, Catty. She's very.
Do you do that to your furniture too, like the sofa E, and the chair is Cherry and
Sophia?
Don't you get double entendre, Caddy?
I'm getting it now.
Matt, if you're not drinking, you should drink.
These are legitimate hard news questions I'm asking.
I used to have a dog named Doggy.
I think I call our dog Woof.
Oh, you guys are. I love dogs too, but I travel too much.
So with a cat, you can just let it go back out in the neighborhood.
They don't care.
We have these amazing neighbors that are all like animal lovers, like we are, and it's just she's amazing. She hunts, so she eats birds and rats and lizards, so I'm never worried about her.
So that's not the kind of cat that you would actually put like in a little tuxedo or anything.
No, she do anything she doesn't want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we're about to breach our
yes, we're about to start dealing with our client. Exactly.
Cats are not down with that whole activity, and they will make it known. A dog will tolerate it because dogs are kind of cool that way, but a cat.
What activity are we talking about?
What actor?
What activity are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about our client for today, which is don't dress your pets or pet your dress. So we're basically talking about, putting clothing on animals and how this, people have different opinions about it.
Barely put clothing on me, let alone my animal.
I had a dog once, and Brendan is totally right. Dogs will put up with it, but they never like it. Dogs do not like being dressed.
Shorts. See?
Oh.
Yay!
She's giving us viewings.
Here, I'll show you my shorts.
Oh,
no, don't. Oh,
good leg. I can't even get in there.
Thanks, Greg. I'm wearing shorts too, but I'm not lifting my leg up.
I have a nice sneeze, I've heard.
You have to sneeze? Why do you have to sneeze, Greg?
No, I have shapely knees, I've heard.
Oh.
So is this gonna air on all the podcast lists that you guys have on your website?
Yes.
Well, it goes wherever people turn it on. So yeah, no, we get all sorts of guests that come on.
I go too. Everyone's turned on wherever I go.
Yeah, but I gotta say,
I'm
Brendan
just
is
thankful
correct.
that you don't have an ego.
I can do those stupid jokes too.
You're gonna make Greg very embarrassed if you keep going on to that particular tack.
And when is this going to air? And
it should more than likely. I'll probably have this published Friday morning.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. And well, I think I sent you a friend request on Facebook so that when I get the links, I'll.
What name?
I think it was Lisa London.
No. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Matt Bracci. I'm also called Lisa London. In the evening.
His friends know him as Lisa London. If you're close to Matt.
You guys have 3 different names. So which name sent me the friend request?
Oh, it was me because they're not on Facebook. They don't do social media.
And your name is
Matt Bracci.
Matt. Okay. I will make sure. Can you send it again?
Sure. I think I just sent it earlier today.
Okay.
So, yeah, I also followed you on Instagram too because I try to connect with the people with social media that we have as guests so that I can give you the information. Say that again.
You followed Lisa London, LA?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, I watched enough interviews of you to figure out what your social media was so I could properly stalk you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I also have another account which is Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, and that might also send you a friend request too. Um,
I will
it
do
works
that.
by itself often. But the main thing though is that we've been thinking about dressing up Greg as a cat um, to help with the opposing side of our client, which is don't dress your pets. But we could dress up Greg if we wanted to.
Of
As a
course.
pet.
Right? So Greg's going to become a furry.
You could dress me up as a guinea pig. That would be
What-
more apropos.
Right.
I'm not sleek and beautiful like a cat.
Well, I was thinking since Lisa was in that music video where Ed Sheeran was dressed up like a panda and Justin Bieber was dressed up like a bear, that she might have greater insight into our particular client, which is not
Could
only
be.
don't dress your pets, but don't dress yourself up as a pet.
Exactly.
I think I love seeing dogs dressed up, like those videos on YouTube. It's always hilarious, but not for the dog. You can tell the dog hates it, every minute of it. It's like this cruel thing pet owners do to their dogs, just for their own amusement.
Yeah, we have as you both know, we have a dog. He's a little dachshund, and my daughter will put like sweaters on him and little jackets, and honestly, the little bastard seems like he kind of is into it.
My cat looks at herself in the mirror. I mean,
Oh, really?
Like, she'll go like this.
Will he groom?
Well, no. The thing about the dog is that it definitely has a fashion sense. Like it likes one sweater, but you put a different sweater on it, and it's like, nah, fuck this sweater.
Well, it clashed with his eyes.
Yeah.
But her cat is more fashion conscious because the cat looks in the mirror and like adjusts its head is what I noticed.
No, it sounds like her cat's a narcissist. That's what it sounds like.
That's a different
No
episode.
fashion involved.
All cats are narcissists is that a new client we'll have to get later.
Totally true.
But you would never put clothes on a cat, right, Lisa? You just wouldn't do that.
Well, I think it would depend upon the cat. I think it depends on how much of a homebody the cat is. You could probably put a dress on it.
No, I don't think so.
Or like a tutu. You put a tutu on a cat, it would probably be okay with it.
No,
You think so?
What was that, Lisa?
No, nobody puts anything on my cat that she doesn't want.
If you had a lizard, how would you dress it? Like, let's say an iguana. What kind of clothes would you put on an iguana?
Maybe a hula skirt.
I would say like
And some like coconut bra.
A Hawaiian
on an
floral
iguana?
shirt. Yeah.
I would put sexy lingerie on an iguana. Very erotic.
God
Would you
damn
design
Greg.
it also?
A bustier, a little bustier.
Would you put a corset on an iguana also, Greg?
Yeah. It would be sexy. Sexy
No.
iguana.
Well,
No.
I think you guys can carry on this conversation. You don't need me.
Well, we absolutely need you, especially since you're showing people in bikinis behind you now. Did you do that on purpose to like distract us?
No, I did not actually. But
Why
yes,
are there people walking around in bikinis behind you?
There are other people here now. Yes.
Oh God! You know, if you want, you could do like a man on the street type of interview, and you can interview them about how they dress up their animals.
I will pass on that.
So what's the next movie you're going to be working on?
Probably this summer. I know that I'm going to be doing a couple more movies for Gregory Hatanaka,
Mhm.
and it's a couple of westerns. It's basically a western and its sequel, but we're going to film it at the same time.
Will that be your first western?
Yes, it will be my first
All
western.
right, you get to go into an
Really
entirely
excited.
new genre.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Now, will it be a
excited.
western horror / situation comedy? Or
Probably with Greg, yes, but I don't know. I haven't seen the scripts yet, but they're called American Cowgirl and American Cowboy.
okay, so
Do you know how to ride a horse already?
Pardon me?
Do you know how to ride a
What?
horse already?
Yes, I know how to ride a horse. I'm not a great horseback rider, but I'm not afraid of horses and I can ride one. So
you know
yeah.
how to ride an iguana?
No, I do not, and I wouldn't because
Yeah, they're kind of
little.
low to the ground. They probably won't
And-
move very fast.
exactly.
They would die.
So it's going to
then,
be two movies, American Cowboy and American Cowgirl?
yeah.
Okay,
And
so
then
you've already got sequels set up.
and I've got a couple of others that are in the works and waiting for Bicker to Bus to be finished. And then I've got Amityville Cop and a movie called The Wrong Sarah that are coming out, and a movie called The Author that will all be coming out too.
I thought Amityville Cop, I thought you had said that was already out.
No. It's been in the works for a really long time. So you might have seen stuff like in production or pre-production. No, I'm excited that we finally
Does
did.
that have some connection to the Amityville horror? Is there some kind of
See it?
You'll have to see it, Greg. No, it has more of a
Okay.
connection to Samurai Cop, Greg. So if we're going to take one word from the
No,
title.
actually, it's unique in itself, seriously, and it's really cool.
I think you can have a whole collection of cop movies you could be doing that just have a different, like Titanic Cop and
Yes.
some other thing begins with
Yeah.
before cop.
Iguana Cop? Second
Tallahassee
Iguana
Cop.
Very obsessed with iguanas right now.
Yeah, it's a fetish of mine. Sorry.
Sometimes that happens. We wind up with a theme accidentally. And so iguana kind of became a theme for the moment. So you pointed it out. Now it's dead. It's dead to us all. We're going to have to move on to geckos and toss iguanas to the wayside. And we can look at how we can put like paper outfits on geckos and watch them run around. They'd probably be very cute, actually, as they make their little gecko sounds.
So we're not talking about iguanas anymore?
No, because she pointed out it's dead. It's a dead topic. We can't talk about iguanas.
I'm cool.
Iguana Cop, though, would be one of the movies you could do later.
I'm cool on. We're not talking about iguanas anymore.
I have to ask a serious question. Are the pinups going to have a revival?
Gosh, probably now 5 years ago, we almost did. Everyone's schedules are so crazy. Tegan Taylor has her own group that she does. And she's also one of the top makeup artists in the world. So she's a bit, then
was she the lead singer, Tegan Taylor?
We were all lead singers.
Oh, you were? Okay.
I think the video that you showed earlier, yes, Tegan was singing lead on that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Glynis Talkin is also a famous romance novelist now, but her husband is in the band America. He's the bass player, and he would do something about it. Still may happen sometime. We started a little bit, and it was so much fun just seeing them again. So
yeah, I mean that was 40 years ago. I mean 1980, whenever you guys came out with that album.
It was 83 or 4, I believe.
Now, did your acting career kind of like push you out of the pinups? Is that why you didn't follow along with the band?
I quit the pinups was because when it came time to renew our contract, because we had a production deal, it wasn't directly to the record label. It was to the producers that put the German producers that put the group together. They wanted to recast a member and not pay the remaining girls, including myself, more points. And I got Sudden Impact with Clint Eastwood, and I just went, I'm going to concentrate on my acting, which is my main love, as much as I love to sing. And that's how I didn't renew my contract.
What was the piece of advice you got from the most famous person that you met that stuck with you the most?
Oh,
and
God.
I'm putting a lot of qualifiers on that. And it doesn't involve an iguana.
It does. What iguana gave you the advice?
It might be Jack Nicholson, who I met at a beautiful bar and restaurant in Hollywood called Le Deux Cafe that's since gone out of business. But
did you say Le Deux?
Le Deux Cafe, like, yes.
Greg says that after a lot of booze.
Le Deux. He overheard me talking about how I was turning something down because it was nudity and I didn't want to do nudity for a while and blah, blah, blah. And I'll never forget this. He said, "Kid, the idea is to keep working. Take every role that's offered to you right now. That's the only way you'll ever develop into a true artist." And went,
so he just interrupted your conversation to give you that advice. Well, that's kind of cool.
It was very
was Jack Nicholson ever asked to be nude? Was he ever nude in the movie?
Of course he was. Of course he was. Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember of all his roles.
College, and he even has a naked scene recently with Diane Keaton. Remember, they're naked.
Oh yeah, it was in that movie where they were wound up dating each other.
They were so good.
It's like As Time Goes By or
Oh, I
something
didn't see that
like
one.
that. I can't remember what it's called. It's the
Something
latter
like that.
days. That's when, you know, Jack Nicholson's junk could be a little bit wrinkly.
And then Clint Eastwood said to me, what's so wonderful about you, he said to me, you have a body like a statue, but you have such an open, changing ability with your eyes that it's really a great combo. Something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but I remember I loved the compliment at the time.
Was that something you were able to parlay into additional roles, the eye comment?
Yes,
You go,
because
Eastwood said this, so you need to hire me.
yes, exactly.
You should have had him write it down for you and like have a public notary stamp it. So it's like, look,
Eastwood said, my eyes are the best thing. And did you then, from Sudden Impact, were you able to like?
What
sorry.
time is it? What time
It
is
is 4:49. You have about 5 minutes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
I've been keeping an eye on it.
Thank you.
I'm trying to eke as much as we can out of you before you have to go.
Go ahead. Keep eking.
keep eking.
Brendan had a question.
I think Clint Eastwood is an iguana. That's is a statement, really not.
We said we put a moratorium on the iguana.
Sorry.
Yes, the iguana had been killed.
Sorry.
Nonsensical stuff. Is it Quibble? Is it Squabble? Bicker.
He's Quibble, man.
Well, actually, you've joined the
definitely
law
Quibble.
offices because you've already like done a little bit of squabbling with us about this whole thing, so it's worked out perfectly. Generally, we all kind of have a combination of the three.
Yeah.
To some extent, but they accuse me of doing more quibbling than the rest.
He's a quibbler.
Yeah, that can happen.
I
So,
can't even picture you squabbling.
well, she's been in the movie business. She has to have a few squabbles under her belt.
This is true.
No, actually, because I've always, if I see toxic energy or drama for drama's sake that is just unproductive and destructive, I steer very clear. I come from a father who never said a bad word about anybody. Nice. and was never depressed a day in his life. And I mean, you know, I had my drama in personal relationships when I was young, and I would like take things personally and get upset about things, but I was always known as a consummate professional. And I can honestly say that I have a fabulous relationship with like everyone I've ever worked with, which is pretty cool.
That is great. So you've never cut a boyfriend with a butcher knife or anything?
No, I threw a hammer at one.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, well, okay. So that's something.
He probably deserved it though.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
But
because Lisa's perfect. I mean, obviously.
Well, Brendan's
she had good aim with the hammer. Well, actually, where did you hit him with the hammer? In the head? What's that?
Deliberately barely missed him.
Okay, good. So you didn't actually tag him with the hammer. See, Brandon.
So it wasn't a felony assault.
Not at all. Not at all.
That's where the chainsaw came in, which is why she's now in horror movies.
She had a good lawyer.
She took out like an entire village in Nebraska without telling anybody.
Exactly.
That's where she changed her genres of movies.
Exactly.
Lisa,
It's like
do you have
the
a dream
hidden parts
project
of-
you would love to do if you were like some producer just said, "Here's $1 billion. What kind of movie would you want to make?"
She would dress pets, Greg.
I can't think of anything right now, but I do have a list of books that I've read that I always thought would make a great film. I have that list somewhere. Think of anything now.
Have you thought about actually directing one of those books yourself?
Never direct. I'm a great producer. For 5 years, I was a very successful theater producer with a couple of like my dearest, incredible friends, Sal Landy, who's a wonderful, fabulous actor in his own right, and Jamise Haft, who is now a yogini and has this amazing flourishing business. Her gorgeous husband. And
I'm sorry, what's a yogini?
It's a tiny yoga.
well, it's actually
An Italian yoga?
It's the male.
You know what, Matt? That was a good one.
Oh.
I'm gonna drink because that was funny.
Okay.
But-
Anyway, let her
I
answer
really
the
wanna know.
question.
But I'm a lousy. I would never be. I would be a lousy director.
Well, I will say that you've been an awesome guest. We really enjoyed having you on, Lisa. And I mean, we could have probably talked to you for like 3 hours, just really getting into detail about your career, because you've been able to make a career out of these movies, and not a lot of people can do that in your business. So that's definitely a testament to your character and your abilities. So really, really appreciate that.
Very blessed and very grateful, and I work my derriere off. It looks like it's easy, but it's not.
Well, thankfully you didn't literally work it off, because that would be a tragedy just in and of itself.
I do need that.
Yeah.
She's still got her boobs, yeah. So
Right. You know, they're the best ones in Hollywood, Greg.
A, right?
What was that?
I still would have the T of the A.
yes.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, so we're trying to stay out of Creepyville here, Greg. So we don't want to.
Yeah, no, but Greg is the mayor of Creepyville, so whatever.
I wasn't trying to be creepy. It was just because.
Oh, but you don't have to try to be creepy. You're just creepy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to let all of our listeners and viewers know that Lisa London's films can be found in mass quantities on Amazon Prime, as well as various different places across the internet. There's some on YouTube.
And hope back theaters again. Oh my God! Hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. That will definitely happen. And again, this is Lisa London. Coming up with like 5 or 6 new movies all in the next few months. Look for them again on Amazon Prime and wherever else they show up. Thank you so much, Lisa. This has been once again an episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker.
You've left the offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's over. It's over. It's time for you to go home. It's over. It's over. Go away now.